Hello and welcome to Craig Dunes or the U1700 qualifiers. This is round 1 on week 12. If you know who else had fun, was Solzhenitsyn. That's a dark joke. Spur, of course, is from Russia, taking on Alex, I believe is American, I think. I've kind of forgot all these things. Still kind of early. Both players playing with Aeon. And of course, Alex played in the U1200. Actually, I think this game is a little bit before he played the U1200 matches with Numbringer. Some really good fights. So that rivalry continues. But let's see how well he does in the division that's above. Without looking at the scores here, looks like both players still very similar global rankings. Spur going to second land. 4 pigeons. This is minimal power for 2 factories. Or Alex is just on the run. 1 factory and right now extremely aggressive, multiple flares. This is quite different than what he was doing in U1200. Still passing up. Reclaim looks like 2 flares versus 1. And the 2 flares win. On the other side, though, it could be problems for Spurdo, this engineer, looking to reclaim a lot of mass. Actually, Spurdo here grabbing a lot of reclaim. And it appears 1 engineer is going to die, although I think that engine, because the flare got so close, could have done some reclaiming. 2 flares make it past Auroras. Going to chase this engineer. Don't quite take out the mass extractor, but they need to keep running. Second land factory started by a single engineer from Alex. Meanwhile, Alex has made his way all the way to Spurdo's base. Spurdo, though, whether by design or luck, has stayed in base, so it's really going to prevent this whole ACU rush from being too effective, and it looks like almost an all-in here from Alex that did not work out. So it's going to be very difficult for him to get back from this situation. He just got a point defense here that he can retreat to. It looks like a little hill here is preventing the Auroras from being shot. That's kind of ridiculous. And a factory for Alex. So Alex moving over to the top to start a new base. Meanwhile, a massive land force. Now we're seeing 5th and 6th land factories going up for Spurdo. Spurdo, massive land force coming in. Might go through the middle or even directly at Alex's base. Alex has no power. Still at 2 pigeons here. Coming up minute 5. Very difficult way to play. He's moving in. He's always got a point defense to retreat to, so he'll be a bit of a pain to kill, at least for a while. But in terms of map control, and a radar here with only 2 pigeons is going to be difficult. The Hydro is nearly complete, but of course those 2 flares prevented the building of the Hydro, which I imagine is completely screwed. Alex, he's absolutely power stalling. So this is a bit random from Alex. I think we're just going to wait for him to die. And Spurdo is going to move to round 2. Hydro's finally finished, but it's going to die. You can see the power finally okay for Alex, but not for long. Looks like Alex shoveled too much snow. He's just too exhausted. Well, that's unfortunate. I think it's also a bit unfortunate because there were seeds 5 and 6 standing by. They could have played. It's always an option for players to just give up their spot, especially with many signups. But thanks for playing anyway. It's always, when in doubt, always play. And Spurdo moves on to round 2. Hello and welcome to another round 1 game from U1700. This one we got Don Vasily, the former U1200 champion. Of course, he was beaten by Crazy Nath. So here's Don Vasily with a rating just above 1200, taking on Samurai Soul, who's nearly 1600. I'm not really sure if this is the famous samurai. Could be. But he's got a correct rating. Don't really know what the other samurai's rating is. But hopefully you don't have any Smurf problems here. So Yef versus Seraphim. So Don Vasily usually Seraphim going to second land. Samurai Soul very heavy on power. Looks like he's going to have 4 factories based on the way he built his pigeons. Perhaps a radar here. Seoul with 5 pigeons, 2 land factories, although already a land factory spam from Don Vasily. This could be power problems for Don Vasily, although he's got 2 engineers moving to the Hydro, which is going to cut it really short. It could be very good, or it could be a stall. It appears to be a stall. If you want to get that many factories, probably one more. Okay, I guess no more power stall because he's mass stalling, but reclaim shouldn't allow that. This looks like 6 pigeons is ideal if you want to do this type of situation together with some reclaim. Something to remember. A nice Celine here from Don Vasily. And another Celine that's going to deny a mass extraction. This one gives all kinds of recon for who goes straight, who goes to the side. At choke point, also we got some tanks for Don Vasily. And the ACU after 2 land factories is going to move to the top. And we do see Don Vasily. He did stall a little bit, but he's got 1 more factory. Then Samurai Soul, that might pay off. His Hydra is nearly complete and looks like he's got some air factories planned afterwards. And these tanks need to be a little more aggressive for Don Vasily. We have a whole bunch of mech marines just running through the middle for Samurai Soul. They're going to run into something they probably don't want to run into. Actually, they just stop just short. And here we're going to see a tank versus mech marines. 3 shots and mech marines die. A murder tank. There are 3 kills and it's going to kill an engineer as well. So Don Vasily appears to be taking over the map here slowly. Oh, this tank's got to run. Nope, artillery took it out. Another tank moving in. 2 ACUs meet on the right choke point. Meanwhile, 6 land factory now coming up for Samurai. And it looks like it's just a single engineer working on these land factories is a little short for Don Vasily. Don Vasily needs to get an engineer and get a power spam going if he's going to get that air factory. Looks like he's got a power storage and he's got power generators right here. Imagine he might have some power problems at this point. Yep. And it looks like now a big force on the left choke point for Seoul. He's going to run things over a little more organized. And definitely not getting a unit advantage. Confused engineer doesn't know what to do. No Hydro for Samurai Soul, that's something to notice. He just wants straight pigeon because he doesn't want to walk over there and expose himself. And now bombers for Don Vasily. Looks like it's going to be a defensive bomber. There are some problems here on this left side. These engineers need to make a point defense. We're also seeing some flak, which is very strange for Don Vasily, given there's absolutely no air factories yet. For Seoul, Seoul with just absolute land spam. And it looks like Don Vasily is just barely going to survive here on the left side. Still might have problems. More tanks need to come in, take care of business. Meanwhile, Don Vasily pretty aggressive, 11 kills. He's got to be very careful. And finally, an air factory after a massive land spam. More, imagine Samurai Soul here. 4,000 reclaims, so he's still able to support this huge spam. Don Vasily, only 2,200 reclaim. Still got a couple chunks here and there. It's definitely a much better looking base from Samurai Soul. Samurai Soul looking very good on this one. Yeah, I really like the way Samurai Soul plays. This is an excellent Tech 1 land spam. And you can see the advantage here, minute 7. He's got units everywhere. And this is going to be a huge force running in. And that's going to devastate Don Vasily's base. It's going to deny the Hydra the air production and most of the power. Because there's only a couple of pigeons here in this region. Meanwhile, Don Vasily fighting Samurai Soul. Samurai Soul may be caught here. Oh, and this is really good from Don Vasily. He caught Samurai Soul's ACU. This is what we've seen from Vasily in his previous games, is that he was very direct, and it looks like that has paid off in this game. He's trying to chase Samurai Soul down. I guess at this point he's just going for a draw because he's completely outnumbered. That's probably a good move because in his base he's got total devastation. Samurai Soul not playing as safe as he could be. I think he had that victory. We're going to see another game here between these two players. Hello and welcome to Fins. This is the second game between Don Vasily and Samurai Soul. Of course, they ended in draw in a game that Samurai Soul probably should have won, but Don Vasily, with his direct play, going right after the ACU, was able to snatch the draw. See how well he does on this. map where it might be a lot more difficult to do a down facility move because there's all this water to hide in. Samurai Soul once again is UEF. One thing about UEF, we've seen less and less UEF players recently. I mean, Seraphim has always been strong among players. A lot more Aeon players and Cybern also. With the shield nerf, Cybern really making a huge comeback. Very good faction. It's really the speed of those Manti make them very effective on a lot of maps. It looks like we got multiple mech marines from Samurai Soul moving out. Second air from Dawn Facilities. Got a single engineer on the Hydra. And a couple Selines moving in either direction. Of course, now this mech marine is going to look for a kill. This Celine should spot it. And good Selines from Dawn Facilities are going to see the threat. It looks like first kill might. The mech marine is just going to avoid. And some tanks moving out for Dawn Facilities. Got one tank going to go intercept the mech marine. And another tank needs to take care of this problem here. Looks like the Selines just kept on moving up. And now, almost a turn there from Samurai Soul, but the tank takes care of the problem. And so this engineer is going to be nice and safe. Also a great Celine here. It's going to give all kinds of great intel. This would be good to put the Celine on top of the Hydra. That would be excellent use of Celines from Dawn Facility. Meanwhile, Samurai Soul getting underwater is going to move directly. Oh no, he's just going to move underwater. He's going to move to the bottom choke point. We also see now air from Dawn Facility. You should spot that ACU. Do we see bombers yet? Yeah, we see bombers. This is a massive air build from Dawn Facility. Very dangerous. He's got 2 air factories early on. Massive pigeons. I mean, that makes sense. One thing that Dawn Facility is doing here is trying to build factories on top of trees. And that always takes much longer because you got to reclaim the trees first. So you want to look for these empty spots where to place your factories. Also with the new and also a Tech 2 Mask Extractor. Okay, Dawn Facility doing some very crazy things. With the new adjacency bonuses, it's actually worth it to build factories next to Mask Extractors. Meanwhile, the ACU for Samurai Soul very aggressive. It's going to grab Mask Extractor on enemy territory. The bomber for Dawn Facility bombs the worst target possible, the ACU. It is the worst target because it does no damage basically and gives away the position of your bomber. This Celine should be on the Hydra, but a good Celine nonetheless. It looks like Dawn Facilities ACU is going to make it across. It's going to force Samurai's Soul's ACU back, and it looks like Samurai 2 land factories. Oh wow, so many point defenses for Samurai Soul. So both players are doing very strange things here. But one thing that I think is a big advantage in terms of land for Samurai Soul, although only theoretically here. I think Samurai Soul making too many point defenses to really have an advantage on Dawn Facility, who's made so many air factories. One thing that's bad though is this Tech 2 Mask Extractor. Imagine Dawn Facility absolutely mass stalling. He's destroying his economy with that Tech 2 Mask Extractor. It's really not worth it. If it wasn't for that, I think he would be in a very much better shape. Here, this is going to be excellent tank. It's going to deny radar and engineer. And that's really the only reason why. Oh, and Dawn Facility with 2 bombers on the field could have absolutely devastated Samurai's base, but chose not to do it, especially with these Selines doing spotting. But instead, this air, which is really a big gamble, is not going to pay off. I mean, it's good defensive, but it's not worth killing a tank for the price of absolutely screwing up your economy. 3 bombers now. This scout needs to be up, looking for things. We also see interceptors now for Samurai Soul, so those bombers won't get too many passes. And once again, a bad use of a bomber from Dawn Facility. Dawn Facility, Samurai Soul going at it now here on the right side this entire game. 13 kills versus 4. And our interceptor is going to come in and clean up the fun. And once you deny bombers from Dawn Facility, given his build, he's going to be at a big disadvantage. Finally finished his Tech 2 Mask Extractor though, so he has completed it. Dawn Facility once again going direct after Samurai Soul. We see some trickle of units with Samurai Soul. A couple of them are flag. Samurai Soul now is just going to move into the water. Both ACUs quite low in health. Some tanks up on top from Samurai. They're going to deny a couple of Mask Extractors. And Dawn Facility continues to roll, 15 kills. And air domination now from Samurai. So flak would be nice for Don Facili. No tech to mask extractor. So this is what we see, even though Don Facili won for a tech to mask extractor. Still a better eco for Samurai Soul. So loses the mask extractor here. So losing these two mask extractors, same thing as not upgrading a tech 1 mask extractor to tech 2. Don Facili now thinking about an upgrade. But I think there's some artillery here which is going to really make that upgrade very uncomfortable. Now Don Facili is going to cancel. Samurai Soul just hanging out next to point defense. The air fight continues. A very big air fight in this game, given it's only 8 minutes. And Don Facili looking like he's in a bit of trouble, although good defense from his ACU. Samurai Soul actually just throwing away some units, feeding Don Facili veterancy. On the other side, there's a good opportunity for Don Facili to move through, although this ACU is always in good position to deny any advance. Of course, those point defense will take some micro from artillery. Don Facili, 31 kills. Continues to kill. I think Don Facili could take on that force, and this engineer, excellent from Samurai Soul. The AC needs to come in, kill all that, and grab the mass. That's exactly what he needs to do. You can't just leave the mass there, and you don't want to go in 1 unit at a time. And here another mistake from Don Facili, running in 1 by 1 into this point defense. Yeah, now he's just going to use the arty. This is good, but good defense from Samurai Soul. More land factories. You need to have more land factories if you're Don Facili. This is Don Facili where you let those units go past, and now they're going to do damage to his base. These arties trying to do good things, actually kill off quite a few units. But it looks like a victory for Don Facili up on top. For Samurai Soul. Don Facili taking air control. But total land domination from Samurai, and now he's got total control on the left side. And if he chooses to go into Don Facili's base through the top choke point, it might be game over. Meanwhile, Don Facili needs to grab all this mass. It's a couple hundred mass just sitting there. Samurai Soul doing no upgrades, just hanging out. And we got bombers once again from Don Facili. Don Facili operating with 2 forces. One's going to go to the bottom. One's going to go through the top. And the flow of units just continues to tech 2 land. Oh yeah, now we got pillars from Samurai Soul. Samurai Soul absolutely running away with this. It's been a bit disappointing from Don Facili, the number of land factories he's had. Absolutely out. Actually, tech to land here, just missed that, but much later than Samurai Soul. And Don Facili trying to get an upgrade. So getting tech 2 and gun at the same time is a big strain. I think Don Facili, with his style of play, really needs to go into tech 1 land spam. I mean, his 2 early air factories was an interesting idea, but he really didn't use it. I think if he would have used it, it would have been in excellent shape. And now we're seeing his base slowly get ran over. There's really no... Yep, really needs to start making more tanks, exactly. So he throws in the towel here after minute 12. 2 very good games between Samurai Soul and Don Facili. Samurai Soul moves to round 2. Well, and welcome to round 2. Here we got Spur and Samurai Soul, who won their respective games. And should be an excellent game. Aeon versus UEF. Of course, we saw Spurdo excellent at Tech 1 land spam. I think that's what we're going to look for him in the near future. And Spurdo playing Aeon played quite well against Alex, although Alex kind of threw in the towel there, you might say. It's a bit of a free win. Although Spurdo didn't really make too many mistakes, just went ahead and took the win. Second air from Spurdo. And Samurai Soul going first Mech Marine. Excellent. A lot of aggression. Not clear what the second factory is going to be. Of course, the winner of this is going to play Zaphid X, who's going to attempt to defend his title for the first time, I believe. Sorry, there's so many divisions, so many things running around, but I believe that last week he won it for the first time. I believe it was the Tempest that he won it from. So Samurai Soul after 4 pigeons. He's going to get a lot of land factory. So when you see somebody going second, oh, this is excellent, very aggressive ACU. He's switching to an engineer, building the land factory. That's when you can go 4 pigeons. Then you won't power stall for sure. And this McMarine looking to deny an engineer. Another McMarine up on top is going to be shot by some Auroras. Engineer on a reclaim mission. This McMarine should come in and kill this engineer right away. No reason to wait. And there's that kill. Aurora's going to move in, take it out, but the damage has been done. Meanwhile, Samurai Soul picking up mass extractors on the way. Already at the halfway point here in minute 3. While Spur is still sitting back at base. He does have second air though and some bombers. See how he uses his bombers. If you can go second or first or third air, you really got to make good use of your bombers. Got to try to be as aggressive as possible. Looks like so far the bomber is a very good scout. And there's a very nice bomb denying the engineer making radar. And once again, Samurai Soul getting a lot of point defenses, which is very defensive, very dangerous. Spurda now with an engineer going after Samurai Soul's ACU. The ACUs meet each other. Once again, Spurda or Samurai Soul here getting advantage on land. We're seeing interceptors and bombers. The bomber from Spurda bombing Samurai Soul's ACU. Very strange. Samurai Soul is just walking back to water. I think Spurda thinking about killing the ACU there, which is an impossibility given the pond that's just right there. He will attempt to block Samurai Soul. Oh, and some friendly damage. Those Auroras. So Auroras and bombers don't mix. I mean, that's just sad. Samurai Soul makes it into the water with the help from Spurder's bombers. 1500 health. Great work from Samurai Soul's ACU. I think that's 4 bombers. He can devastate these pigeons and all these things. We see a lot of flak from Samurai Soul, but now an air factory and interceptor is going to come out. And killing mass extractors with bombers is just criminal. That was another good bomb. It's a good use of bombers from Spurdo. In some places. In other places, bad use of bombers. Here, hitting these pigeons right there would have been excellent. Or just hitting the troops is also good. Or any of these engineers. Mass extractors is just not worth it. More land factories for Spurda. Spurda just hanging out with the ACU. And now interceptors from Samurai Soul have come in and they're going to clean everything up. Also tech to mass extractors. One thing about 2 tech to mass extractors. One thing about small maps, tech to mass extractors, something that should never be built except when you've got reclaim from battle or there's a lot of reclaim just sitting there for you to get on the map naturally. On a small map, if you upgrade tech 2, you're going to lose. There's always exceptions, but 9 out of 10 times you're just going to lose because the other player's going to turn that 900 mass into tanks and do exactly what's happening to Spurdo right here. So this is something you should always keep in mind when you're upgrading mass extractors. You're going to find a large group of tanks killing them a couple minutes later. And it looks like this is another victory for Samurai Soul. Spurdo absolutely losing his base. He had that great Air Force, but I think he could have used a little better. So a very similar story as with Don Facili. It's very nice to see new players using air so aggressively, but you got to remember that it's very easy to lose to land. They just walk over here and kill you. Air is kind of fancy, and it's something that you got to do, but land is a necessity. And if you're going to go something really fancy, you got to make sure it absolutely devastates the other player. Spurda walking along the edge, waiting to die. I think he almost had a chance to get Samurai Soul, but that friendly fire from Bomber basically denied that possibility. Speed this up. It looks like Spurda's going to find himself without no base. The point defenses. And Spur, call it a GG, well played. And we're going to see Samurai Soul versus Aphid X, a game, a series of games which hasn't been played yet, but definitely looking forward to it. Samurai Soul, excellent Tech 1 land spam, and let's see how Aphid X deals with it. Curious to see which maps Samurai Soul will choose.